to kind of give it to their mates a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that is still important, right? You still want to prove that you're the better region, even if you can't be the best region here at IWCI.
Sucking
IWCQ.
less than the other guy is really important sometimes in life, Seafa.
That's right. See, I like that mentality. You don't have to be the fastest.
You just
when
don't
you're
have
running
to be the
away from
slowest.
a bear. You just don't want to be the slowest. Of course, Shen banned out. Vladimir Casio also taken off the table, limiting some of the control mage options coming here in the mid lane. I like it. We're one step closer.
We're completely done. The pen's dead. I can't even write down pick bad.
Tarek taking off the board. I like that choice. Obviously, that would limit the 5v5 team fights.
And it would also kind of nullify what Aegim wants to bring to the board from what we've heard, which is a hell of a lot of aggression. So getting rid of that, we said Dara probably a little bit better at playing the nullifying supports than what Aegim is. Aegim much prefers being aggressive.
Nar taking off the board. Swiper playing with our hearts, as he always does on this first pick.
Yeah, Tryndamere. I'm expecting an Alawi hover next, just, you know, for something different. He is actually a very good Tryndamere player. I remember when, what's a keystone that gives you...
Oh, Warlord's Bloodlust.
When Warlords came back out,
yeah.
He was like, Warlords double zeal item, Trend is back. And I was like, this is horrible. I hope this never goes to competitive play.
I remember that with that era. Yasuo was good in that era, too.
Yeah.
And it was atrocious to play top lane in any Q game ever because Tryndamere was unkillable. Oh. Of course, it is going to be the Gragas in the end, so a little bit disciplined here in this pick ban.
Yes, yeah. As I said, I'm expecting the Chiefs to take it 100% serious. You can see their coach Jish behind them. As I said, if anyone checks them out, they've all been incredibly vocal about how disappointed they are in this results. I mean, Rampage, they've got a couple of excuses. As I said, first time. This is the fourth time for the Chiefs. And if you go back and track their organization a little bit more historically, I mean, Immunity was running around WCGs, so they've had a couple more chances and should have been able to pull this one off.
Much more experience overall. We'll have to see. The Chiefs' serious face. If we can see that consistency we've been wanting to see from them all tournament. Because sometimes they look so brilliant and sometimes it just falls apart. But Rampage picking up some power picks of their own in response to the Gragas. We will see the Sivir and the Braum locked in here.
Yeah, and Brand was something that was flirted with, the idea of Brand. Aegim seems to have, after it smashed us on day one, seems to have jumped on the hype train. He thinks it's incredibly potent.
I like how you're shamelessly saying us now.
Yeah, no shame. It's locked in, buddy.
Chiefs! They're bringing it in big. It is going to be the Brand Lucian bot lane, at least from if Aegim's statements are correct. Could be a Brand mid lane at this point. Who really knows?
Yeah, no one knows. I mean, this game, it could be Brand top lane.
Flex. The ultimate
flexible pick right there in the Brand. Does a heck of a lot of damage. I really like it, as I said, because if you clear out the wave with the culling, you can just Brand ulti people under turret, and it kind of bounces between them, gets a passive off, and just does a heck of a lot of damage. So I think
also, if you ever get like a couple kills in lane, you can one-shot people.
Yeah. I think Lecrit was generally onto something. I think that it is not a cheese pick. I think it might actually be strong in the right hands.
Well, and I like the logic that he presented, that it was, or that we kind of theorized, where it would be really good against some of the range supports, who often offer a decent amount more utility, but just realistically, no one can compete with that early game damage.
Yeah, 100%. See, wow, that's actually a really powerful lineup coming out so far. Potentially Gangplank open, but against an Echo, that is a rough matchup. As well as a team fighting out of Grave. So right now, the 5v5 from Rampage looks incredibly potent.
And of course, Swiper yesterday picking up the Gangplank. It was a pretty solid performance, but I feel like the Chiefs have played a little bit better when they have that tank in the top lane. Now there's the Echo and the Graves for Rampage. They're playing this one by the books. Clearly looking to pick up their third win here. And the Chiefs continue to play with our hearts and pick bans.
Certainly do. I mean, Swiffer has been a big Rise player in the past, thinks it's quite good, especially with the change. I think we saw it in the EU LCS finals as well, but looks to be just a standard pick ban phase here.
At the end of the day, Lysandra as well as Aurelia going to be locked in. So the Brand mixing things up, keeping it spicy. We got a little fire and ice here on the side of the Chiefs, but still within the realm of reasonable picks, I think we can safely say.
Whoa, and Roki actually gives your wish an assassin in the mid lane, LeBlanc being fired out.
This is what I was waiting for. Although this is an interesting matchup. Lysandra LeBlanc. Gotta respect it. I'm curious. I'm curious to see exactly how this works out for Roki. I like the LeBlanc coming in for him. I think he's a pretty talented player when it comes to those mechanical champions. But Swiffer you know, has proven himself a pretty potent mid laner in the tournament thus far. And I mean, you're pretty much just calling someone out, I feel, when you pick that LeBlanc.
Yeah, especially when you pick it into Lissandra, who nullifies a lot of what assassins want to do. If you can live through the initial damage and, you know, just Frozen Tumor up, get the Gragas in there, that's going to be a free kill. But that's not where we're watching. We're watching supports this game.
Oh, yeah, and it makes a lot of sense because there's a brand facing down Dara's Braum. Ejim looking to make a statement here. Said on Twitter, proactive supports, the key to victory. Tired of playing whatever he listed as not proactive supports. Karma.
Trundle. Tom Kench and Karma were the three I think that he listed as not supports that he wants to have anything to do with. Alistar as well as Bard were the ones he wanted something to do with. Of course, picks up a new one here in the brand.
See, this is the thing we talked about learning. He's learned a little bit from Lecrae here. Not afraid to pull that one out.
Yeah, fear isn't something that Ejim should be known for previously. He's quite a bold player. The thing that I like about this is, you know, that the Chiefs have gone with what is extreme comfort for them. Aggressive bottom lane, aggro style top side of the map as well. This is what we're used to, and I think Raz said it best. The teams that are playing to actually their style and not trying to adapt to a global meta are actually the teams that have been successful so far. Definitely looking towards Lion, definitely looking towards ANX when I say that.
I think that's very much been the case, and it's interesting that you say that because I feel like that's often an issue when teams come to bigger stages or when teams are trying to figure out what they need to do. So frequently we see teams prioritize proverbial meta strength instead of team comfort, what the team is good at playing, and so frequently you can just tell when people aren't comfortable playing a champion, when they make those little mistakes, like the alt flash, or the flash alt rather than the alt flash to cancel the animation.
Yeah, I always go back to like what China said going into MSI, and I think it was Mata who was a Korean player on RNG, so it wasn't even really the Chinese player. He was just like, we go to Worlds every single year and we just try and play Korean meta, and we are so bad at it. And then we went to MSI and we we're just like, well, we're just going to fight people, and if we lose, then we lose, right? But at least we lose playing our style of fighting League of Legends. And they did much better at MSI due to that. Ultimately, they still lost, but it was a much better showing. And I really think that there is a lot to learn out of that because you just have to play what you're comfortable with. Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's where you've had the most experience.
Absolutely. And we can theory craft what is the best way to play League of Legends at any given moment. And so often people tend to believe that that is the Korean way. And that has proven true in the long run. But you're not going to beat the Korean team at the Korean game of League of Legends. It's not going to happen.
Well, it hasn't happened in a very long time. That is absolutely true.
So, good to stick to your guns. Good to stick to what you know and what you are comfortable with. The Chiefs, they may not know the brand, but they're ready to learn it on the fly.
As I said, I think you'll be surprised. Ejim's a little bit of what we call a grinder over here. He plays a lot of solo queue in between his tournament games. He's played a couple of games of Brand over in Brazil so far.
Taking his time. Of course, the bot lane not too aggressive quite yet. Jungler's just going to look for these early clears, and we're going to have to keep our eyes focused, well, mostly on the bottom side. It is our featured matchup. That is that aggressive support, and Ejim and Raze are already taking control. But there are other lanes to consider. Mid lane even so far. Top lane, all these lanes honestly very explosive. If one side gets a lead, it feels so simple.
This is going to be one of the most snowbally game of League of Legends I think we see all tournament. Because, as you said, you know, Echo versus Aurelia really is a matchup of one kill. Whoever gets that first kill really does tend to take over. Bottom lane is just going to be a pushing war. And then if the LeBlanc gets big enough, is going to legitimately be able to one-shot probably 3 members on the Chiefs as this game progresses. So Roki could potentially have a field day, but in saying that, it feels so bad being an assassin behind the clock, not being able to blow someone up, especially when there is this much damage coming out of the enemy lineup.
And it's just terrifying. If you ever get hit by the Brand Stun, the Lissandra, there's so many, I mean, the Aurelia Equilibrium Strike as well. There's just so many ways to lock her down, and LeBlanc, even with that passive, has to respect the potential damage. So, you know, as we're going to continue to talk about, it's pretty much all about snowballing in the early game, and I feel like that inevitably draws our attention to this jungle matchup between the Graves and the Gragas. Graves feels safe to continue scaling, but I feel like Gragas has a lot more potential for early game impact.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially when you look towards mid and top. There's probably just going to be a pushing battle in the bottom lane, although there are a lot of teleport plays to be able to be made down there. I think that Tussle will just farm this one out. I mean, I'm not expecting him to go aggro, but Spooks definitely has windows right now where he can look to try and get his team an early advantage.
And looks like he's going to try to capitalize on that. Goes back, looking for the challenging smite here. Ready to duke it out. And
what do I know?
Tussle going in. Ejim, he's going to get cut down. The Brand, will it be what cost him his life? And yes, as first blood drops for Rampage.
So they burn double flashes to get in there and actually 2 summoner spells out of the Chiefs. So really nicely done from Rampage. Good trade from Roki as well in the mid lane meanwhile. So across the board, looks like Rampage slowly starting to get an advantage, 400 gold.
We talked about how explosive this could be. Of course, Brand's still going to be terrifying in terms of that damage output, but giving Sivir the early advantage in a lane that Lucian is so often slated to win at the level 6 point could be pretty devastating. This is the snowball.
And all of a sudden, teleport used mid lane, and there is a dive potential bottom lane. Ducking into Fog of War. There are lots of members down there.
Oh, nice. We'll get the ticks on the Spell Thieves, know that someone is there.
He knows 2 people are there because first tick was 16 gold. So that's actually really nicely done. Checking with a spell. Ejim looks to be pretty undeterred by an early death. I mean, when you're playing Brand, this is one of the best things about playing AP supports. You're like, I don't care. If I get some items, I will eventually kill you.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that it's also just levels in the early game. You don't need anything to do damage on this Brand in the first few levels.
Top. This is actually really risky for Paz. He has spotted him.
Setting up for the stun here. Going to stick around and try to get it onto 2, and he's just going to walk his way out, but the body slam will connect. Will be some decent damage down. Spook's laying down the pressure. Yeah,
he's down 10 CS already. Answers by going back and getting a teleport, trying to get some lane advantage, and Spook actually allows the Aurelia to push up one more time. That means Swiper going to get a free recall off this back, maintain a big CS advantage.
It's a good
as well as not having to really burn a teleport here. So this is good news story for the Chiefs.
Yep, of course, Ejim throwing down a decent amount of damage, but a lot of it being blocked out. Tick's going to come through on that.
You shouldn't walk near each other. That's kind of a zillion bomb radius. I mean, you can run it at your 80 carry if you're that kind of person, but you should generally back away.
Not quite used to playing against a Brand support, it appears, on the side of Rampage.
I'm sure all these players are, because, once again, they've all been scrimming each other. They've all been playing solo queue. As soon as the crit brought it out, every single support player's eyes would have lit up and just been like, we don't have to play utility anymore. We can play damage.
Are you telling me we can finally build items?
Swiper's in some trouble here. 3 members top.
It's going to take some fancy footwork, though. Leaping forward, goes for the stun, is set to make it out, but very low. Roki flashing forward, looking for a bit more. Graves coming in. He tries to turn it. Roki very low. Spooks just desperately wants that. Is going to get it. That's 1 kill. Has to flash to safety. Paz now going to back off, but pressure in favor of Rampage on the top side. Good to shut down that Aurelia.
Certainly is, and Paz has his ultimate available, so can potentially look for a dive. Although just looks like he wants to back away and continue to get back in this lane through CS. You know, still down by 10, but that assist will help him out.
Swiffer moving in, spots out the attempt to take the Krugs from Tussle. It's an aggressive play, maybe just looking for the 1v1 here. He's going to get smited out. Tussle now level 6. Suddenly it doesn't look quite so good. Try to leap onto that Graves.
Yeah, if level 6 didn't come through there for Tussle, I assume that Swiffer would have gone for the 1v1. Had ultimate available as well as the flash, but in the end doesn't pull the trigger. I think that's wise.
Yeah, I think, of course, only has the Negatron Cloak and the Doran's Ring currently. Nothing to mitigate the insane early burst damage of Graves. But checking back in on the bottom lane, despite that kill, things do look pretty even. Just giving Sivir that extra pair of boots. Top lane actually still balanced out. The assist not going to make up for the assist onto Aurelia as well as the farm lead. So right now, Rampage a little bit more in control of the map.
And one more time, they're actually roaming up top lane. This time, looks like Swiffer a little bit quicker in the rotation. But Swiper needs to be aware that this is going to continue to happen as long as he continues to shove in.
Of course, Swiffer now set to grab the blue buff. And we look on the bottom side of the map, you can see all of the vision laid down by Rampage. It's a pretty good setup if Roki does opt to roam, but he's been, paying that attention topside instead.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, that's just an isolated lane right now. We keep going back to it, but shoving advantage should be in favor of Rampage.
Winner's Bite not going to connect. Clear the Dar is ready for a fight. Goes to play the more defensive support. We talked about him being good at this, but it's still not his signature play style. Prefers to get aggressive. Not going to get that opportunity on Braum, but it will mitigate a lot of the Brand's upfront damage. And Ejim continuing to take a lot of poke. Hasn't had the opportunity to back and upgrade that Spell Thieves or buy any other damaging items. Just relying on those bases early. Spooks level 6 now. We can maybe expect a proactive play from him, but Tussle now sensing an opportunity to push in for more vision as he does spot Gragas out on the ward.
Yeah, that's really clever. I mean, whenever you want to play bottom side of the map, Wolf Smite is one of the most valuable in the game of just, ensuring turret dives aren't going out, especially when you have a teleport on a mid laner like Roki. Last thing you want is Tussle getting up behind that turret, dropping down a ward, and all of a sudden it's a 3-man dive. So nice job there from Spooks to keep his top laner safe. In saying that, all the pressure has kind of reversed the lane top for Swiper. Paz is caught right back up in CS. So good job there out of the Echo player. Swiper's going to pick up some here, but I guess that's Rampage putting a lot of eggs in the Echo's basket. They need him to be able to shut down the Aurelia, so they had to get up there and help him.
And Paz has been a strong player for the lineup, but we'll have to see if that's a risky gambit, trying to get him with the lead on the top side. Spooks is now moving in.
Level 6, no creep wave. This is what we keep talking about. This is Brand's time to shine.
Here, maybe looking for a little bit more damage. Is going to try to make it out. Does get the ult down and makes it out to safety, but here comes Spooks. Dara goes pop. Multiple members burning down. Swiffer wants to join the party. Maron now set to fall, taking his time on that ultimate, waiting it out. Swiffer on the front side. That's a good dive coming in for the Chiefs, but Paz is making his presence known, and Roki is ready to shut off the escape. Raze now set to get popped. Good flash out. Denies the double distortion. Spooks set to burn down. Sigil of Malice, more than enough. Swiffer in trouble. What does he got for cooldowns? So they have to see if he can make it out. Claw over the wall is going to make it to safety.
In the end, an absolute bloodbath. I mean, the Chiefs come out on the receiving end of it. They set up the dive. They get 3, lose 3 in response, and it looks like Swift is going to be a 4th, although now Tussle
leaping in and out of tower aggro. Good play coming in from Tussle. Paz going to get the assist, but just for some early damage.
Yeah, certainly is, and all of a sudden, rotation coming out of top lane. Swiper doesn't have the ultimate available, but does have a shove here as well as teleport.
Sivir and Braum already on the top side, though. Rampage, I think, just one step ahead in that early play. Tussle predicting the dive on the bottom side.
Yeah, and that's what you expect. I mean, as soon as you saw that the creep wave had been thinned out, you knew the Chiefs were going to go for the play. Although now Ejim.
Oh, Ejim. He's ready. Throwing it in. Getting frisky. Seer not going to connect. Max range.
Grazed his buttocks right there. It doesn't land a stun.
Singed some hair, but not going to stun those buns.
As we take another look at this, so this is what we expected. Lane had been called out already, had been cleared out already. Big ultimate in here. Dara takes maximum damage, and this is where the disengage should have come out. I mean, be content with the turret. Instead, they go onto Marin, and Swiffer shouldn't have used the ulti. I mean, it just comes down to that one auto attack would have done it. Instead, they burn too much and get punished.
Ooh, small mistakes, but Ejim throwing back a little bit of trade damage, however. Taking half his life in exchange. LeBlanc 0-1-3, maybe not an all-star scoreline, but is going to have an easy time popping those squishy members as we mentioned earlier. Now we're kind of just waiting. Rampage, in theory, have the early snowball here. Echo 2-0-3 now on the top side, but question is, what can they transition that into?
Just took a lot of damage. I mean, you have to pay attention to how much the brand's still doing. He's still level 6. He has his Ignite available, ulti back off cooldown. So Lucian Brand's still definitely willing to take the 2v2. I think as long as Exhaust isn't there, they'll be happy to take that. They just need to make sure one of them doesn't get popped. So now Swiper in a trouble again.
Not quite the trade that he wanted. Paz making good use of the shield here. Swiper now very low. This is the turning point for Echo. Passive on parallel convergence will make it easy to trade out, and he's looking for the dive. Tussle moving in. The fancy footwork comes in. Snap back, stun on a Tussle under the tower. Looking to keep the ball rolling. Is he going to get it? No. Tussle just leaps out of there with the ultimate.
Bottom lane, though.
There's too many kills on the map. Roki teleporting down. A little bit of a misstep. They saw the TP coming and commit anyway. They're trying to kill Ejim. Roki, is he going to get it? Yes, he gets one. Will Spooks get something back as Maron is here to party? And no, triple kill for the LeBlanc in the mid lane. This is disaster for the Chiefs.
Yeah, all of a sudden the lead is absolutely massive. They're going to be able to pick up first brick as well. Swiffer rotated down instead of staying mid. And the Chiefs just in general kind of collapsing across the map. Swiper tried to put on the fancy footwork, but Paz did the right thing. Didn't drop turret aggro there. Meant that the Graves just got out all of his burst damage whilst being focused down. And the Chiefs, they're in a 4,000 gold lead already.
This is not deficit.
Gold,
yes.
4,000 gold hole already is what I was going for.
I mean, I know you want that, but it's not quite the reality.
I don't even know if I do anymore. I mean, as long as this LeBlanc gets massive, I feel like we're going to have an entertaining game. Because of the range of the compositions, Rampage still going to struggle to close this one out, I believe. They definitely need to, be able to play that vision control game, be able to generate picks throughout the mid game. Baron damage is pretty incredibly low for both the Chiefs as well as Rampage right now. So I expect this one to go for a little bit longer. And you know what? As long as I get more kills, we're above a kill a minute. I'm pretty comfortable.
That's a standard we're looking to set here at IWCQ after the games yesterday. Saigon Jokers may not be here, but that doesn't mean that teams aren't just going to look to fight. And Tussle now 4-0-2. you can be sure he's going to look for something.
So stand and deliver here. I mean, Ejim just turns around and blows Dara up. Marin actually falls incredibly low. Raze looked to commit to it, but wasn't able to pick it up. And Roki, he just did a good job. Auto attack there, uses his spells to blow up spooks. That's what you do. You don't burn cooldowns on someone that's already guaranteed dead. Just throw some auto attacks.
So important. Swiffer. Attending a party that he did not want to. Uninvited guests here in the bottom lane, but Swiffer not too scared.
I mean,
Still
now Dara's
out
in.
some damage.
That's actually a pretty good trade from Swiffer in the end. Is able to go pretty even. Had the proto belt, didn't use it. Now
Does
he's in
give
trouble.
up ult, however. Has to use the proto belt to try to get away. Now definitely in trouble. A little bit of gold not going to get donated as the clone does snap back to LeBlanc. And now Mountain Drake set to fall in favor of Rampage.
Yeah, Spooks goes for it. Does not pick it up. Has to flash over the wall.
Doesn't have flash.
Doesn't have flash. There you go.
Oh, but there's the brand damage. Maybe looking for a little bit more TP coming in. Suddenly Brand's getting aggressive. He's looking to get frisky. There's the shutdown. Ejim with a quick bit of revenge. Spook's not going to make it over. Ray's debating whether he should go. Swiper going to get popped in an instant, but Swiffer is still alive. There's some decent damage coming in from the Lysandra, but there's no ult, and that's a double kill coming in for the Echo in the top lane. Now 5-14.
I feel like someone missed a memo. The Chiefs are like, all right, let's just throw everything at them, and Razor's like, I'm not going over the wall. So at the end of the day, they get absolutely slaughtered for it. Rampage looking fantastic in this game. Now moving in on 2 turrets. They should be able to pick up this bottom one. And Paz.
Now trying to make something happen in the mid lane. Raze is here. Has to be careful, though. That Echo pretty terrifying with the Sunfire Cape. Now we're going to start working on the Trinity Force pieces as well. Gold lead extending to 5K.
We said that this is going to be a snowbally game. Raze, don't know if you should face tank the Echo, but works out this time around.
Level 11 with red buff. Ejim still only level 7 here. Has been knocked out of lane 4 or so times.
You're being kind. I think it's closer to like 8 times. He's only died 4 of them. This is a bloodbath. Let's take another look at it. So Spooks goes over, tries to steal. Doesn't have flash, as you mentioned. Ejim gets some damage down. And as soon as Tussle flashes away, he just flies over the wall. Ejim does get blown up. And as we mentioned, I mean, Raze, this is your time to shine. Go over the wall, pick up some kills, but he doesn't go for it. No cooldowns left on Roki or Marin. He probably would have been able to pick up a pair, but...
Honestly, if the Lysandra ult hadn't been used earlier from Swiffer as well, that may have been a very different fight for the Chiefs, but...
Hey, we only had the one in front of us, and it's all right now Rampage.
It's a hard fight for the Chiefs. Checking in across the map, one piece of good news is that the Aurelia has finished the Trinity Force. May make it easier to trade with the Echo moving forward, but as it is at a massive level deficit...
Oh, you don't go near Echo right now. As soon as Echo appears in the lane, you play the opposite side of the map. I mean, he has teleport available, but you just look to dive in, get out before anyone notices that you're there. This is an interesting call. I really don't like Rift Herald at the moment just because he's a 10,000 health neutral objective. And this can happen where if you spot it out early enough, they can kind of come in and ruin your day. You can see that all the Chiefs members on their way.
Swiffer, no TP. LeBlanc is coming up. Are they going to look for the pinch here? Ray's warding over the wall and Roki waiting.
So in the end, they actually just give it over, but still a lot of potential for damage here.
Starting to burn down there. Taking about half his health in that skirmish. Rift Herald now given over to the Echo. Paz was already winning the 1v1, but he's going to continue to be more terrifying as we move forward in the game.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely massive. As I said, I don't honestly think there's anything you can do about the Echo right now. They need to look to trade instead. He's 2 levels up over the highest level pretty much on the Chiefs because he's about to ding 13. And Swiper, you're dead.
Swiper backing off. Paz pulling back for some reason. Maybe looking to line up the ultimate, but here comes Ejim now moving forward. Paz with the snapback. Ejim setting up the stun. That's a good amount of damage. Paz now set to fall. Surprise! Brand in the bush going to get the shutdown for the Chiefs.
That's one of the times where, as a top laner, you just go aggressive. Paz did the thing where he tries to, run away, then he has to come back because he hasn't got enough distance. Just turn around and kill the top laner. Then when the support rocks up, it's a 1v1 again. Should have fought 2 individuals as opposed to trying to skirt around. But yeah. Spook's in a little bit of trouble.
Paz playing scared. Spooks is going to make it out there. And now Aurelia is pressuring in on the top side. Chiefs still down about 5K, but they're making some moves to bring it back. Rampage, though, not quite so eager to let that happen. Roki, Tussle, and Dara are on the bottom side. Ejim, Swiffer moving in to respond.
Still no teleport available, so it's just going to be, a little bit of a turret defense.
Throwing out the ice shards, clearing out what they can. Rampage trying to figure out what their next move is. They've got a lot of pressure down on the map. They're in a good spot to set the pace, but they have to be careful here. Can't afford to keep losing members.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, right? You just don't want to give away the big shutdowns on everyone. I mean, one team fight goes the wrong way right now. Outer turret still up for the Chiefs. All of a sudden, you're back in the game that should have been well and truly out of reach. I mean, the Chiefs got smashed early. But that's what happens when you have 5 champions that all build damage. If you catch someone out, they die real quick.
It's true. We see the Sunfire Cape. Actually, the tankiest item in this game. Lock it a close second. Roki. Oh. He's going to get spotted. Spooks drinks. Roki dashes. Flash moving forward, trying to keep the ball rolling. Is just going to turn it back on him. Lysandra is coming away. He is spotted out. Ooh, flash out to safety. Traded back.
2 flashes for 1, though, so Roki technically comes out ahead of that exchange.
Yeah, excellent place to be. You can see Braum and Sivir now moving in to catch the wave. Graves moving into the mid lane, but aggressive play coming in from the Chiefs. We'll have to see what that flash deficit will cost them.
Once again, you have to respect it because Roki, he has double dashes already. That flash engage out of Swiffer as well as Ejim is pretty much the best they can have. Well, now
Ejim going to get popped, trying to make it out. The stun comes in, so he's not going to get the damage. Or is he? Oh, Tussle is simply too strong. Ray's looking for the 1v1 outplay, but in comes the Sivir. Maybe he's going to get it from the backside, though. Swiffer moves in. The flash comes out. Swiffer, no flash of his own. Maron suddenly caught in no man's land because Aurelia's looking for the duel. Echo's going in, but Swiper's going to get 1. Will he be able to make it out to safety? Aurelia does not have the flash. Oh, the fancy footwork. Leaps in. Thank you, Tussle, he says. Making a pathway out, but now I think he's set to fall. There's simply too much damage here. Some stylish plays coming in from the Chiefs. Swiper
pretty much did the best he could there, honestly. He gets another couple of shutdowns. The Chiefs, they come away with that, still only 4,500 gold behind. Don't think Dragon is available because, you know, Tussle Jungler is dead. So in the end, it is, I think, 3 for 2, but the Chiefs with a couple of shutdowns, that's all right.
Yeah, over-aggressive play coming in from Rampage potentially. Maybe over-aggressive play from the Chiefs, but the bottom line is if this game goes later, they're happy to stall it out. The deficit will continue to mean less moving forward. Aurelia now grabbing the Hex Drinker as well.
I mean, I think it was day 1 where Spook said, you know, playing with Ejim is definitely like playing with, you know, someone that is a head rammer, just likes to keep going in, just keep pressing forward. I think that, you know, the Chiefs, they try and combat that as much as possible and keep Ejim under control. This is the first day that I've really seen all 5 members embrace that theory. I think Raze is a little bit slow to the party. He seems to be a little bit hesitant to get in on some of the fun.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate moving forward because that communication is crucial. I mean, it's
now
always
Paz caught out, 3 members converging.
Looking for a party. Spook's going to move forward, try to stop him from the parallel convergence. He's locked up. He's locked down. He's going to snap back, but he's not going to hit anybody. He's trying to flash out to safety. Slowly ticking. You can see the particles still on him.
It's not really all that much they're going to get. They get a dragon, sure. But it looks like he is going to end up dying.
Oh, but you got to look on the bottom side while Paz is buying time. Swiffer is the one who's in trouble. He's getting collapsed on in the brush. Paz is going to be set to fall, or he's going to get executed.
No.
Ejim.
The burn damage. Swiffer at the same time is dead. Don't worry, we don't want to see that.
Moving in. Rest in peace, Swiffer. Frozen Claw not going to be enough in Rampage. Now poised to push in on the bottom side. But it looks like a 2v2 in the mid lane.
Never lucky, says Swiffer, as he has a grin on his camera. I mean, right now, Rampage are playing the Chiefs game, which they shouldn't be. They are so far ahead. I mean, just set up your vision line, move around, take objectives, play this game nice and calm, because you should not be trying to 1v1 everywhere. It's just...
But at the same time, I feel like they're playing right into the hands of Dara and Tussle. Dara and Tussle are 2 players who absolutely love to fight. We've seen it. They love to go in. They're over.
I agree, but look at the Chiefs. They're for some reason, they're in a very similar mindset today. Spooksy's got the deepest flank of all time.
Oh, here comes the Sivir ult. They will spot it out on the hunt burned. I don't know if it's the right choice.
Spooks is behind Roki. What are you doing there?
4 members pulling back into the pit. Oh no, Spooks wants it. You can see it in the eyes.
He has no flash available. If he had flash, he would be going right now.
The head's ticking down, though. We're just a few seconds away. Ray's in trouble, though, because Echo's coming in on the flank. Ult coming in. They're looking to chain the CC. Pop goes Ray's. Colin going to get down a little bit of damage, but not nearly enough. Swiper suddenly in no man's land as well. Leaping back does so much to Tussle. Simply won't be enough. Rampage not even given the chance for the Chiefs to group up anymore. Just going to cut them down where they stand.
That's much better play out of Rampage. I mean, straight away they move towards a Baron objective. There's still a lot of AoE to come out of the Chiefs, don't get me wrong. So this is a risky call still, but looks like one that they want to take.
They have the Brand. They have the Lysandra. There's no locket yet on the side of Rampage. And will it be enough? Lysandra is here, maybe looking for a way into the fight. Jim throwing down a bit of damage. Dragon.
Teleport
Baron
has
burning
to
lower.
come in.
Paz moving forward. 2k health. They have
There
a good
it is.
indicator of it. Spook's going to try to find a way over the wall. Goes over the wall. Is he going to get it? No. Graves gets it in the end. Lysandra going to get 1 kill, however, and Spook's going to take down the jungler. Chiefs looking to play cleanup duty. LeBlanc is ticking down. Won't be enough damage from the brand. Paz going to back off, looking instead to take down Spooks. Damage coming in. They're not going to get anything. Holds it back with the cast. Maybe looking to keep the ball rolling. Ejim getting aggressive on the front side, but suddenly the team is here, and Echo has overstayed his welcome. Raze wants a little bit of blood. Colin coming down, and Paz set to fall. Chiefs, they may give up the Baron, but they knock down a few members of Rampage on the way.
They certainly do, and all of a sudden it's just Roki and Dara that do live through that. And this is kind of what happened against Dark Passage yesterday, to be honest. Swiffer fed so incredibly hard at the start of that game, and now all of a sudden is in a position to be able to carry a little bit.
Oh, Swiper trying to turn it on to Roki. Roki maybe overstaying. Dara with a great body block to save the mid laner, but you're going to have to respect that Aurelia. Swiper's getting scarier and scarier.
And he's just going full damage. I mean, we wouldn't be surprised to see the Yomus come out next. It's something that he has done historically. And I keep saying it, but the danger here is that Rampage are in a position to win the game. They're 100% the favorites. They've got 2 Baron buffs. They should just be able to 1-4 with Roki. He's got teleport available. He can 1v1 Swiffer at this stage of the game. Everything's set up. But as long as they keep doing this, as long as they keep running into the Chiefs head first, all you need is one team fight to go against you. And then the map opens up and they start picking up all these turrets. Still only 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, but they have the 2 Baron buffs, so we're going to have to see what they can do with it. Can they extend this lead? Can they cement themselves ahead in this game? Or are they going to give up more kills? Or are they going to mess up a little bit in these team fights, get over aggressive in these engages? Because you know, you can see the Chiefs. You can see them grouped in the bush looking for a fight.
As we have another look at this one, I mean, Swiffer absolutely destroys Merrin, and then the brand ulti comes out. Or if that W had a hit, Roki would have also died, and it would have only been 1. So a little bit of a misplay. This was a nice play actually out of Spooks to body block as he dies. Tussle now.
Taking a decent amount of poke. Roki also getting low. Ejim bringing that brand damage to bear as he builds towards that
huge flank coming in from Merrin and Dara. They've found out Ejim maybe.
Oh, Ejim trying to get out. Pause suddenly the center of Chiefs' attention. They're poking down every member who comes their way. This is the see hero, kill hero mentality from the Chiefs. They don't care who it is. They're burning cooldowns. They're ready to go.
They certainly are, but at the end of the day, it doesn't win League of Legends. So Rampage just actually playing the map now. They get good vision control in the jungle. You can see triangle vision set up. They can now move into a 1-3-1. LeBlanc in the mid lane. Paz in the top lane on that Echo. They're going to be nice and calm now, hopefully, as they start shoving through some of these turrets.
Yep, have the Baron buff to back them up. There's 1 tower dropping. Gold lead continuing to extend, 6k. Roki throws down a few shots. Swiffer doing his best to clear these waves.
But Baron buff is always hard for mages to clear out. And you can see they're going to be able to grab 2 turrets potentially here.
Threatening for the engage. Tussle just throws down the smoke screen. Swiffer resisting the temptation to pull this trigger this time around.
Yeah, he has no mana. I think that's the only thing that's keeping him out. It's one of the things about the new Lysandra build. If you get denied blue buffs early, you pretty much have enough for a couple of combos, then you have to go back to base. So is not helping with the counter siege.
Sivir says back off. Damage blocked from Ejim as the tower falls. But Baron buff running out of time. So Chiefs may find a window in which they don't have to play quite so defensive, but Rampage doing a good job to take down these outers.
But now we're back to 7,000 gold, so this is a much better position. Let's have a look how Spooks got caught out. Looking for the engage onto Tussle. Good flash. Means that he just pops in, able to pick up the kill. As you said, some really nice damage comes out of Ejim, but at the end of the day, Spooks was dead before it really started, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, now maybe looking to contest this Cloud Drake. Don't really want to give another one over. The 50 movement speed buff. Not enough. Spooks finally has flash this time, though. Maybe actually able to smite out here, but Tussle just chaining the damage together. Spook's not going to burn flashes, just going to leap back over the wall.
Yeah, so he goes over, looks to contest for it. Really nice shot from Dara. His Braum has been really impressive this time around. Once again, to play, that mitigating factor in what is an incredibly aggressive team comp can at times be hard. They have to have very good decision-making with that Unbreakable, and he's certainly risen to the occasion.
Yeah, of course, a lot of pressure on him to save a lot of the more vulnerable members of this team. LeBlanc, Graves, and Sivir all susceptible to being just blown up. Similar story on the side of the Chiefs, though. A lot of vulnerable members. LeBlanc having a field day thus far, 5-1-9. Really itemizing a lot of early Magic Pen, just trying to shut down the Lysandra as well as the double Maw of Malmortius present on the side of the Chiefs.
And now it's really just about, regaining vision control over the top side of the jungle. That's the last outer turret. They'll send Paz down bottom. Start up the 1-4 one more time. This has been probably the cleanest game Rampage has played. Macro-wise, they've had some fun, and now they're much more centered around going back into either a 3-1-1 or a 1-4. So it's good to see that, even though they're having a little bit of fun with the game, they're still respecting the Chiefs enough.
Oh, looking for the duel here. Ray's getting aggressive. It does get the flash out in the end, but on the hunt, maybe looking to keep the fight going. Ray's now running for his life. Has Dara overstayed his welcome? Tussle's on the side, but he finds more than he bargained for. TP's coming in. TP responded with from the Chiefs. Maybe they're looking for a fight here. There's a lot of low health bars, but Paz is in the middle of the team. Paz is looking terrifying. Does get the stun down on his spooks. Roki's on the backside.
Oh, you're dead, Ejim.
Oh, no, he's not. Going to live for an extra second there, but will die in the end. Colin coming in, not going to get canceled out. Paz in the middle of the team. Swiffer taking his time on the ult. Will finally throw it down. The damage comes through, but Chiefs just buying a bit of time as they trade 0 for 1 there.
Yeah, certainly doing now. Roki potentially looking for another victim, or Paz even. They're staying nice and aggressive here, Rampage. It's only 50 seconds to the Baron buff. They want to have vision control over the area.
Graves ult slowly ticking down as well. Will be available soon. Look for a little bit more. Paz not going to find the stun this time. Spooks still as aggressive as ever. Rampage taking the small advantage of the Baron buff. 40 seconds left on that Baron. We'll move forward. Kind of just waiting to see what the Chiefs are going to do here. Pressure's on them to make and engage, to fight for this Baron to contest. And Rampage, we really just got to judge how good their setup's going to be. How many risks are they going to take?
And the Baron is a risk. Because once again, even though the Chiefs are significantly behind, the Brand Ultimate as well as Lissandra Ultimate in a Baron pit is incredibly scary. Baron debuff, of course, with magic resistance. They're going to have Lucian coming in with all of that AoE damage. So Rampage need to set it up right, but if they deny vision, they should be able to look for picks with their composition. So ball in their court. Chiefs actually looking to set up one of their own.
Waiting for that ward to get auto-attacked. Tara coming down. He wants it.
Here we go.
Tara.
The Chiefs left.
Oh, sees him on the ward too. Nice little silhouette there. Letting him know what's lurking. So if we're going into the mid lane, that's not quite what he wants. He's going to ult Roki and then try to leap out, but he's going to get cut down instantly. Dara right where he needs to be.
I mean, once you're in, you're in. Just try and kill someone, Swiffer. Don't use half your burst damage to go backwards. Baron's alive, and, we were saying how good the AoE is. Well, if Lissandra is dead, it's not that great, to be honest.
No TP available either, and there's a decent amount of time left on that cooldown. Silver's going to be hard-pressed to make it to the pit in time if this is what Rampage decides to do.
Teleport coming in on the left side of the screen.
Here goes the fight. We're going to watch Dara clear this ward, though. But in comes Roki. Is going to get interrupted on the home guards by a nice bit of brand damage. Suddenly, Spooks left alone is just going to knock the team back. Ult comes in, looking to chain the CC onto the jungler here, limit the options, secure the Baron. Spooks now set to fall. Roki going godlike. Rampage is going to be able to back off. Raze, though, looking to get aggressive onto the Echo, looking to get something back in exchange, but has to play smart here. Dashes forward. Paz running for his life. Raze, decent amount of damage. But meanwhile, the Baron is being taken. Rampage set to get their second of the game.
Yeah, certainly looks to be the case. I mean, teleport not available for Swiffer.
Oh. Ejim trading back and forth with LeBlanc. Does get the stun in the end. Collateral damage goes wide. Not going to connect there onto the support. Raze throwing down the culling. Needs to be safe. Flash forward. Winner's Bite goes in, but they got to respect Swiper. Roki onto the backside, but here comes Swiffer trying to get the damage down. Tussle looks like he's next on the menu. That's going to be the double kill coming for the LeBlanc. Suddenly, they're starting to run away with this one, but no. Maron manages to clean it up. The Sivir simply too strong for Chiefs to overcome.
Maron just mans up, turns around, stands, delivers, takes out the Chiefs. And, because their jungler was dead, there was absolutely nothing they could do in that fight. Now back available only to watch his base get absolutely demolished. Rampage right now looking great in these little skirmishes.
Yeah, maybe looking to get an inhibitor as well, but Rampage kind of quell the lust for blood there. They are just going to back off. Don't want to risk giving up anything else as they extend their gold lead past 10K.
As I said, Rampage has played this one smarter. The Chiefs are just continually running into the Rampage forces one at a time. Swiffer got caught out in the mid lane, so they turn around, they start up the Baron. I mean, Raze was distracted. And Rampage, they're just continuing to get advantages. We're up to 10,000 gold right now. They're pretty much finished in every item slot. I mean, their jungler is 6 items versus a 3.5 item right now. Spooks.
Pretty terrifying. Pretty unkillable. I can't see what those items are because they're blacked out because of the cooldowns.
I assume one is a Maw and one is a GA.
That would make sense.
That's what I'm going with.
Maw, GA. That's terrifying. Has the rapid fire cannon as well. A little bit of armor penetration. Just to make sure that even Spooks isn't feeling too safe. Rampage now looking to take their 4th dragon in the game. Double Mountain, double Cloud. Spooks
still wants
one more chance. Is going to get that one.
Got it this time.
Flash out.
So if nothing else, Spooks showed if you... Wow.
Well, here comes the TP. They're going to have to wait. Spooks has shown that his team is now doomed to fall as Rampage TP in and pick up another kill. Raze is on the top. Raze, we called him the prodigal son. The new young Kiwi looking to make a name for himself. But the name is Raze, not Double Lift, my friend. You're going to have to...
You don't know that. I mean, they're committing to this split push. No, he's going to recall. Good call, because you might lose the game.
Roki now pushing on the bottom side. He's committing to the split push spawn. He's going to get the tower before he backs off.
Just keep going. I mean, you're there now.
They're pinging. Rampage is pinging. They're thinking about going back to send somebody. They're going to see this push not continuing. They're going to keep the ball rolling.
Coming in from Paz.
Paz just going to get stunned up. Ray's now running forward for a little bit of damage. Doesn't look like they're going to chase this one out. Ray's just poking with what he can. Looking for the disengage. Nice movement coming in from Ray's, but Paz is suddenly on the front line. They're trying to stun him up. Is he going to get the chance to snap back? Yes. Blanc on the front line. Ray's with some good movement here, but they are going to lose the top laner in the exchange. Rampage starting to cut down the Chiefs. Swiffer has to play safe. Is going to ult himself. Dara on the backside is going to get cut through. Now a 1-for-1 exchange. Rampage backing off. Ejim maybe a little hungry for blood here. Throws down the Pillar of Flame.
I mean, Paz has to respect that as well. Marin just gets 3/4 health chunked. So it will mean, in the end, Rampage back away. They get the inhibitor. They get up to 9,000 gold in the lead. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs actually able to peg that one back slightly.
Yeah, and they were 10k ahead, so the Chiefs are making some moves to even it up.
And I say this all the time. I used to say this, you'll love this, I used to say this about LGD games. You can't play their game for too long because eventually they get back to even. LGD start the game at even, and then they would get to like the 45-minute mark, and they'll just be right back to even. And then you have to play against what was a terrifying lineup. At the end of the day, Swiffer, still a very good mage player. And the Aurelia will get to the 6-item mark eventually.
Yeah, and Swiper's had some of those highlight moments. Been a little bit less frequent as we move further as the gold deficit has gotten bigger, but eventually
he had
will
the double
even
kill.
out.
He has 2 kills. It's been good.
Oh, yeah, that's it. It's a sweet double kill, though. Gotta love the Blade Surge resets coming in. But, of course, I mean, Rampage are, for the most part, playing this game out very cleanly. Not quite enough respect for the Chiefs in some instances, but they've built themselves a 9k gold lead. They have double the kills of the Chiefs, and they are very much poised to win this game.
And the thing that I just love about Rampage so much, and I'm going to go back to it, is the Chiefs kind of created the rules for this game, and then Rampage beat them at their own game. I mean, they've just been able to... The Chiefs were like, we're going to build all damage, and Rampage were like, that is fine. We're willing to pick up an assassin in the mid lane.
It's Duskblade, not GA.
Sorry, that's my fault.
You said all damage, they're going to deliver. Roki taking a lot of that damage back.
So really nice trade there out of Raze. I mean, he's going towards an Infinity Edge last item. Although Swiffer now...
potentially in trouble. Is going to try to leap out. Is going to have to use the alt Paz. Tussle moving forward, trying to get a little bit more damage down. Finally, going to use the Zanyas.
Actually might live here.
Is going to live there. Spook's moving forward, though. Maybe not the right choice. Dust be ticking. Will proc for getting anything. And Rampage are now grouped up in the base, but that's a lot of low health bars. Raze still going to live. Moving forward as Dara looks to be the front line. Chiefs backing off here.
Teleport burnt out of Roki. I mean, that's a lot of their 1-3-1 pressure gone.
Yeah,
just
relatively
with that cooldown.
Low cooldown on the Lysandra ult 2 at this stage. They just need to buy a bit more time, clear out what they can. There's no Baron buff. Have to respect a potential dive from Rampage, though. They're still very far ahead.
I don't think you can dive this lineup. I mean, Spooks is a pure tank, so taking him out is going to be incredibly hard. He's also very disruptive with the item build, and then everyone else just does a lot of damage. Looks like a Black Cleaver or a Steric's going to come out of Swiper next. So he's all damage. 5 items, just pure damage out of Swiffer.
This is what you're talking about. Chiefs wanted to play the full damage game. Rampage were beating them at it, but they're going to have to close out soon because, I mean, you look at some of the late game threats on this team. Aurelia going to be terrifying. And Sivir, normally, you get those 4 items, you kind of just win the game. But against an Aurelia, not quite so easy.
I mean, at the end of the day, you give Bard Brand, damn it. Another 10 minutes, he's going to have a Void Staff. And that's a 5-item damage Brand that is going to light up your whole team in the appropriate situation. Once again, Rampage in firm control of this game. They're still 8,000 gold and 2 dragons ahead.
Should be making moves to close. It is 30 seconds to the Baron. Maybe the 3rd Baron will be the key to breaking more of these inhibitors, but Chiefs are holding on for dear life here.
And if nothing else, both teams have put on the show that we're asking for.
Yeah, we're still at more than 1 kill a minute. No, we're at exactly...
Oh, we're way ahead.
Way ahead.
We're at 46 in 39 minutes.
I don't know. I was like 30 plus
pace.
16. I was like, that's 39. That's how that math works. They got to keep up the pace, though.
They do.
We need to keep up the status that every game I cast this tournament has at least 50 kills.
Well, we only need another 4, so I actually think you're going to get your wish in that regard. And they're back on the Baron, so here we go. Teleport ready to come in from Paz. Baron just going to fall down.
Dara now set to disengage.
Fighting.
A lot of members caught up by that ult from Dara. Spook's now looking in trouble. Paz is suddenly on the back line. Ejim left alone. He's not going to get down that Brand damage. Swiffer blocking a lot there as he moves forward. Does he have the Hourglass? It looks like it, but Paz is just wreaking havoc on the backside. Rampage are running through this lineup. Raze looking for the 1v1, but Paz just going to snap back and heal up. Raze, the last man left standing as the Rampage lineup just cleans house.
Yeah, really nicely done by Rampage there. Paz, he splits the 2 AoE mages. Swiffer goes to the front line. Ejim caught on the back line, and that means Rampage going to push down mid and win this game. Raze wants absolutely nothing to do with it. Going to pad the stats a little bit, grab some CS for himself, but Rampage will end up finishing 5th, and the Chiefs will fall down to 6th.
Not where they wanted to be. Rampage proving themselves the stronger team today. Raze not going to have too much to say about it. Will kill. Oh, Roki in the end.
What?
Oh, will try to get tussled. That's 2 taken down. Unfortunately, it is not enough at the end of the day. However, Rampage moving up to 5th place as the Chiefs one long, slow goodbye here as Rampage finally closes the game out.
And you could see that, Rampage, very calm about their victory. Humble in victory. Gracious in defeat, this team.
I like that.
They had a pretty good first IWCQ showing, to be honest. Big smile there out of the top laner. I'm excited to see what Rampage can do next time around because I keep going back to it. The LJL is a region I always really watch quite closely. Proximity to China and Korea means that they have very good solo queue environments. And I think that this is the next big region to really shoot up as Latin America has this time around.
Yeah, Latin America North, of course, the big surprise this tournament, but Japan doing their own, or their best to make a mark here and making a mark on the Chiefs.
They made more than 1 mark on the Chiefs. I mean, that was, in the end, a 53-kill game.
And we look at that last team fight and Paz with that flank on Echo. I was like, that we hadn't seen the full power of this very fed, very far ahead Echo until that final fight. But when we saw it, you could see just why it's so obnoxious. Because it took 3 members trying to DPS him down on the backside while poor Swiffer.
Yeah, so let's take another look at this. We said Tussle, you can just farm out if you want. In the end, he jumps into bottom lane, gets a first blood. That got the ball rolling in Marin's favor. And then Roki with a great early teleport, able to pick up a double kill for himself. So,
oh no, it's a triple.
Triple kill. So, in the end, really, Rampage just played this early game better.
Yeah. And I think you saw just too many over-aggressive attempts coming in from the Chiefs. I like the aggressive style. I've said it before, but just need to be a little bit careful. Need to be on the same page. We were critical of Raze just walking away from that fight. However, maybe it wasn't the best choice. As you can see, the Chiefs just kind of getting routed here.
That's a horrible choice. But at the end of the day, 5 people making 1 horrible choice is better than, 5 individuals making 5 different okay choices. So, Raze, get on board. Of course, not on board in this one because he just got singled out by that LeBlanc, who at this stage could pretty much one-shot anyone.
Looking at these highlights, got just such a bloody game. I think we got to 50 kills. We definitely got to 50 kills. We met my quota. Rampage met their quota for wins today. Interesting, of course, to see as these team fights, how chaotic they were. So many different little segmented skirmishes.
And Marin turns around and gets 3 crits in a row. I didn't know at the time. I mean, he has 80% crit, but 3 crits in a row is still pretty good RNG.
I mean, Marin actually a house in a lot of these team fights. Using the on the hunt frequently, but at the end of the day, this final fight was front to back for the most of the lineup on Rampage, and then Paz just in the backside. Nothing the brand could do.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there were 3 members putting everything into Paz, and he was just unshakable. 9-3-1. Raze challenges 2 duels here, comes up trumps. Watch his reaction, by the way. He's not happy that he fell down in the end.
Oh my gosh.
Passion coming out of the young AD carry from New Zealand. Because he just picked up his Infinity Edge. He was like, with that item, I could take it. But he couldn't.
Nah, not enough, unfortunately. 1v5, the dream, still remains a dream, even for the young Rays. But Rampage, we talked a lot about the Chiefs, about them holding on, but really this was a clean, confident close coming in from Rampage. They controlled that game from minute one with that gank coming into the bottom lane, and they kept it going.
I said, they legitimately took the rules of the Chiefs game and then just beat them across the board. I mean, 0 lanes out of the Chiefs got ahead. Every single lane lost comprehensively. And then Rampage ran over the top of the game. I mean, they got 3 Barons, 3 Dragons. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and of course you can see the MVP on your screen there, Tussle. A lot of blood in that game. We got to give it to the man who started, kept the ball rolling in that game. Tussle, an absolute house, coming in on the 6-item Graves so early into the game. I mean, it's really solid. I would argue, though, that I think that there is a spot for Dara to get that as well, because I think the Braum here, while the proactive Graves play, I think, was really good and really key to getting that early lead, I think a lot of the reason why the Chiefs weren't able to come back and win some of those aggressive skirmishes was because Dara was always where he needed to be.
I actually was going to say that Dara was my MVP because you're right, there was so much damage that could be thrown out at the same time from the Chiefs, and he had to be very selective with the Unbreakable. And the thing that has impressed me the most out of Dara is his decision-making. Like, it's one thing to be able to mechanically execute, but at the same time, you have to pick the times to be able to do it. And all tournament long, Dara has shown that he's one of the supports that can play the Alistair, but can also play the Terex, can play the Brahms. And that's really rare to find a support that can go forward and backwards like that.
Yeah, and interesting to see how adaptable that he has been, of course. And Tussle in the jungle, we've seen him consistently be an aggressive threat. And I feel like on his own, sometimes he's over-aggressive. But when you pair these two together, it feels like they do balance each other out a decent amount. And I like that Dara is consistently where he needs to be with the team, no matter what the circumstance.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think that, the Braum pick was good for that. Could go in aggressively when he needed to. He could also kite back. I think that the other player you have to have a look at is going to be the mid laner there, picking up LeBlanc. First assassin really that we've seen the whole time. We had an AP Echo, I think, at a Lion. And
I believe we've had a few other LeBlanc games as well. We've had like a lot of crazy picks. Yeah. We have had the AP Echo against the Talia in the mid lane. But the LeBlanc play, this is classic LeBlanc.
Yeah, 100%.
Get ahead, kill people.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when they pick like that comp, just throw the gauntlet back. He was well and truly within his rights to say, if you're going to pick Lucian, Brand, like they're always going to be in my danger zone. Like I can 100-0 those people because they have to get in range of me at some point. So really like that coming out of the mid lane.
And I like that the pressure is suddenly on the Brand and the Lucian outplay. There is because they're both so short range, it feels like there is some potential for some counterplay there if you can predict where the LeBlanc goes. But LeBlanc has the freedom to kind of wait for you to throw those abilities out, dodge around him, and just kill you every time. And additionally, so frequently I felt like we saw LeBlanc leap forward, dish out her cold combo, and then we look at the Chiefs try to respond, and LeBlanc just hops back, and oh, look, here's Dara in front to block any return damage you could possibly have.
And that was because the Chiefs never had priority on the map, right? They never have vision control because they've done such a good job through Tussle, through Paz, through Dara, of getting those deep wards. We saw huge flanks coming out in every single one of those team fights. So if the Chiefs had priority, all of a sudden, LeBlanc is face-checking these brushes, trying to get the assassination. She can get picked off. But really, in reality, the Chiefs didn't own any of the maps, so they weren't able to set that up. So, Rampage played that game pretty clinically. It was very bloody. It was a very high-tempo game. We had 6 items earlier than I've seen in a very long time, but they were better.
True. At the end of the day, they out-executed. They earned that win over the Chiefs. And it's, as you said, interesting to see how this team will grow, if they're going to continue to represent Japan at the International Wildcard events. Of course, Detonation Focus Me is still a relatively strong team, although these two have been kind of duking it out at the top of the standings in the LJL for a very long time. So an interesting change of pace to have them come. And, I think, as you mentioned, very good performance.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, Dead FM, they're still around abouts at the top, but we've heard for a while now that Rampage has been the better team. I think it's fair to say.
Rampage, in my opinion, has been the better team since I casted LJL, I'll be honest. Detonation Focus Me, when I look at their Season 2, the regular season that I was lucky enough to cast, were consistently better, more aggressive. However, when it came to playoffs, when it came to consistency, we didn't see that from Rampage. We did see that from Detonation Focus Me. So I think it will probably continue to be back and forth, but I think overall in terms of talent and in terms of decision-making, the peaks coming in for Rampage have been better. And if that can be consistent, that's a big question. I'm not sure. But if it can, they are definitely the stronger team.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard, right? At the end of the day, in a best of 5, maybe not able to execute the way they wanted to, but they have better ideas. And, when they do execute upon them, they look like a much more polished lineup than what Dead FM do. Not taking anything away from Dead FM. They're also a very good team. Saraso mid laner, he's a very, I guess, quirky and fun mage player to watch play. Has a mean zillion. I like that in a man.
Mean zillion, mean GP.
Yeah, mean GP. But at the end of the day, as I said, I'm just incredibly excited to watch the progress of the LJL because they didn't make it to Worlds this year. But give them a year. Lion Gaming didn't win a game pretty much at IWCI. They picked up 1 victory. I think they went 1-6, and now they've just dropped their first one, 6-1. So as far as swapping a scoreline during group stages, I'll take that. I would take the IWC trade for the IWCQ if I could trade my soul.
What? Wow. I mean, I like that, coming in with the honesty. So my big thing looking at the international wildcard and why it interests me so much compared to, let's say, Korea, America, like the standard, the teams that are guaranteed seeds coming into Worlds is because what we see there is, for the most part, small improvement. Small, steady improvement coming in, but we can see such huge explosions of growth coming in from wildcard regions. I mean, Latin America North is our primary example here, going from 1-6 to 6-1 now, turning it around completely coming in, and it's a similar story for so many teams. INTZ have been consistently strong, but they have shown the potential to explode in growth, and League of Legends just gets harder and harder to play, right? The expectation just keeps growing, but the level at which these teams grows is all over the place.
Yeah, and you see it in the depth of the players. I guess, for Lion picking up Oddie, picking up White Lotus, that really is what created that super team for Latin America, and they've been able to do such a good job. I mean, INTZ with Revolta versus without Revolta were a completely different beast, and I guess that's what Chiefs were hoping for, picking up Razors at 80 carry. Unfortunately, not successful this time, so back to the drawing board. But you're exactly right. It's about getting those puzzle pieces together. A lot of the scenes are a lot newer, so definitely agree that, they can be explosions in growth as the infrastructure, as the teams really settle down and get themselves back in a commanding position.
Well, looking at explosions of growth, looking at exactly how this has worked out for them, we're going to send it over to Hingers, who's standing by with one of the players from the match.
Thanks very much, guys. Well, I'm joined now by Roki. Congratulations on the win. Tell me a bit about how you felt that game went.
今日おめでとうございます。で、実際今日のゲームの展開どうでした？
今日は自分たちのやりたいことがすごい決まったなと思います。
I think we were able to play the style that we usually want to play, so I'm very happy about that.
Talk a bit about the draft that the Chiefs put into that game. Did you feel confident after you saw their draft?
チーフがドラフトしたメンツに対してどういう気持ちでした？あれを見て自信を持てました？
チーフのピックを見て、もうどのピックが来ても自分たちのやりたいようなピックをするってもう決めていたので、自信を持ってやりましたね。
To be honest, going into it, we already had in mind our lineup, so whatever the Chiefs picked, we were very comfortable we're going to play with.
Finally, the remaining 4 teams in the tournament, do you have a particular favorite, someone who you think is going to win the tournament?
今回の大会のセミファイナルなんですけど、クリチバで絶対こいつらが勝つだろうっていうとこってどっかありますか？
やっぱりライオンゲーミングが優勝するんじゃないかなって思いますね。
After playing Lion Gaming, I have a feeling that they might take it all.
All right. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations on the win, and I'll throw it back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Hingers. Of course, interesting to hear. I would say that Lion Gaming is probably the safe bet.
Yeah,
for a lot of these teams.
Given the fact they only lost 1 game so far, yeah. I'd be willing to say that.
And the game that they lost, they picked Yasuo mid, and maybe we're messing around a little bit.
Yeah, just tiny. I think that Lion, they've really impressed me, actually. I said that on day 2, I think that, I love Lion Gaming. I think that they play League of Legends the correct way at the moment, so really excited to see how they can go in a best of 5, because that's a whole different ball game to these best of 1s. Maybe you get the jump in a best of 1, best of 5, you don't have that advantage.
Well, before we look ahead to the best of 5, let's take a chance to reflect on the day's results, as well as the final standings in the group stage. But you can see ANX taking the game over Lion, Dark Passage over the Saigon Jokers, and Rampage taking it to the Chiefs. As sad as that makes some of the Oceanic fans.
No, not sad at all. You know, at the end of the day, Rampage is a better squad, and Dark Passage versus Saigon Jokers definitely was a fun game to watch. So even though a lot of these games didn't really impact the standings today, it was a great day of League of Legends. And I think that, you know, the upbeat tempo that teams played was certainly, you know, very pleasing as a fan.
I like those bloody games. We like those standard lanes. Always exciting to see, but that does give us the opportunity now to see exactly how the final standings did unfold here. Coming in the group stage, you can see Lion uncontested at the top, 6-1. INTZ, Dark Passage, and Albus Nox, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th based on tiebreakers, or based on head-to-head, but will be 5-2 for each of them, and then 3-4 for Rampage and the Chiefs. A sad 1-6 for KMV and Saigon Jokers, not a team we referred to as the underdogs for a very long time, but did not manage to find a single win here.
Yeah, they were the dark horse going in. I mean, Bangkok Titans last year went all the way to Worlds and were able to take out, you know, the Turkish squad, the Oceanic squad on the way there. So that's a huge disappointment for the Southeast Asian region, not able to pick it up. Saigon Jokers, they're no stranger to this rodeo as well. They were expecting a better performance out of themselves, but, you know, unfortunately not able to get it done.
No, and we saw a much better performance coming in at IWCI, but we're not going to see it this time around, and I think that's just things continue to shift here as we look at international wildcard events. You can never be 100% sure how strong a region's going to perform.
I think it was a meta thing as well. You know, Saigon Jokers, they were uncomfortable with lane swaps. You could, with no lane swaps, you could see that they were trying to lane swap themselves and get away from it in the current meta because they just did not like the standard lanes that were being dished out here, especially the power in the duos, I think it's fair to say. So, you know, a lot of the duo lanes in the IWC regions definitely stepping up and taking it to these teams.
Yeah, a surprisingly large amount of stronger bot lanes. We look at some of the supports, some of the players coming in. You look at White Lotus, you look at, I mean, even Dara coming in. There's so much power.
Crit and Miracle, they're fantastic to watch as a duo lane.
And I know, it's interesting because I don't feel like in these kind of tournaments we usually see strength across the board or in different places depending on the region, but we really consistently saw strong bottom lanes coming in. Even for Saigon Jokers, Celebrity was a stronger point for the team, but just clearly not comfortable going toe-to-toe there.
Yeah, I mean, Celebrity had a couple of really good games, so I think that I definitely agree in that regard, but, you know, when the rest of the map was collapsing around him, wasn't able to necessarily hold it together. So, you know, Saigon Jokers unfortunately walk away from this one winless.
Of course, but there were a couple of teams at the bottom. Let's take a chance now to look at the teams at the top who will be facing each other down in the coming semifinals. Coming up on Sunday, our time, 4th of September, but I believe Saturday for everyone else. Brazil, INTZ. Oh, no, just on Sunday. Brazil is INTZ versus Turkey's Dark Passage, the 2nd and 3rd seed, facing each other down for a slot at Worlds and that one final best of 5 for both these guys.
Yeah, certainly. And INTZ, you know, silencing some critics. They had a poor day one, but then everyone found out the Lion was just really damn impressive. So at the end of the day, it really wasn't the case. Going up against an old rival in Turkey, that's going to be an absolutely amazing best of 5 to watch. But, you know, INTZ, they need to win it.
Yep, INTZ, the much more veteran lineup, I think we can safely say, more experience playing together. But when we look at it, we also have to say that Dark Passage have been looking good. It seems like they have figured out exactly what lineup is going to work for them. Yeah,
Dark Passage have really improved. And, you know, I'm not saying INTZ will win it. I think that this is as close as the best of 5 that you're going to see. It's just, you know, home soil coming in as hot favorites at the start and so many disappointments in the past. They're really going to look at this as their opportunity to see his glory. Dark Passage, you know, they're still playing with a couple of subs, you know, but they have started to look better, and now with a couple of more days to go away, scrim some of these teams and really start to level up. Looking forward to seeing if they can put on a show.
And while this match was the classic battle of contenders for international wildcard events, Brazil versus Turkey, we kind of have the new upstarts coming in our next semifinal. Looking at it, Lion Gaming coming versus Albus Nox Luna, formerly the hard random lineup, formerly the team sent to you know, MSI, IWC champions multiple times, and Latin America North. This is the semifinal to watch.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Hard Random pretty much a year ago had the birth that Lion had when they won IWCA and really, you know, started taking the scene by storm. And now Lion Gaming, they're having that birth by fire by going 6-1 now in IWCQ. This is going to be an incredibly good game. I think that whoever we send out of these two teams is actually probably the best IWC team at the moment. I assume it's fair to say. I mean,
I think completely.
ANX, they lost a game versus Dark Passage via backdoor of a 0-7 Ash. Like, that doesn't happen every day.
Well, and we look, too, for the most part, their decision-making was solid. They made 1 or 2 mistakes, but these teams have both looked incredibly consistent, and I think that consistency is what matters most on the world stage if you're going to look to take games off. And honestly, it's hard to tell. Like, we can't 100% sure compare a lot of these teams to other regions, but looking at Lion, looking at the way they play the game, initially we just talked about those early leads. That's what the Chiefs talked about. So many teams were like, they can just snowball. But we saw them do more than that. We saw them play intelligent League of Legends, and that is massive for a team looking for the world
And funnily
stage.
enough, the first time they really executed on incredibly smart League of Legends was against the Chiefs. The Chiefs threw a lot of shade, and then Lion destroyed them through Fog of War and Vision. I mean, the Baron baits out of Lion in that game were really world class. So it's very hard. I kind of try and keep track of, where Pain was last year versus the rest of the world, and I said that they, might be the first wildcard team to make it out of groups. They got 2 wins that time around. Lion or, the CIS region in ANX. We'll see whether they can do a better job of that, because every single year we seem to get slowly, incrementally better.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good overall, but of course, that's going to close out the group stages for us here at the International Wildcard Qualifier. We will be back this weekend, and we're looking forward to seeing you then.